Sound check. Sound check. Signal digitizing. Doing what we can to survive right now. I'm being told I have an excellent connection. So, by all wagers, we should be in business finally. Let's see if this works indeed, Dark Red. Let's see if this works indeed. Ay caramba. Yes, let me know about the music background. The way this is set up, I actually can't hear it unless I put on my headphones. So right now, the music is for your benefit. I will just sit here in silence. But in the meantime, it seems like third time is a charm. So, hallelujah, amen. Spooky. I do not see how 2165 and 5000 are close to each other at all. First of all, 2165 is erased from consensus reality. I mean, we don't even, outside of this memetically sealed stream where we can talk about it freely, the world doesn't know about it. As soon as we hang up, we're going to forget about it. So on that end, I don't know what you're talking about. At least a time reset. I don't know. Maybe you have another perspective on this that I do not. All right, I'm getting my chat organized where I can see it. I've got camera, I've got sound, I've got tunes, I've got desk. All right. Now, I think we're in line. Good. Okay. We've had to bust out the main office. We couldn't go casual Friday on this Monday with our office hour stream. But beyond that, I think we're good to go. Getting organized here. Perfect. So, with that in mind, let me, first and foremost, get the super chats that I missed. I don't want to let the donations go unregarded upon. So, first and foremost, Angel Chobat. What do you mean the audio is cutting, Jack Owen? What do you mean the audio is cutting? Gosh, dang it. Wait a minute. Is it cutting when I'm here? Is it better when I look this way? Is it worse when I look this way? Is it because of where I'm looking that you're hearing a sound difference? Because that's chill. That's just the microphone. And so maybe I'll move the microphone a bit closer and angle it differently. I am going to continue to talk at a general pace as we continue to sound check this stream. Viking Axe, yo, I love the concept of SCP. So do we, in fact. Spooky, the whole reset thing is what I see connected between the two. What I meant to reference is the story involving 5000 and the SCP Foundation deeming that human extinction as a mercy. You know, I think the reason I find it different is because I don't think that there was a reset in 2165. I think we blew that thing out of the universe, but everything else went on like normal. In 5000, everything is reset by this. At least that's the way I view it, although you could view it as that reset shunted a different timeline, causing similar things like that to happen. Interesting, interesting. Oh, you Streamlabs, you're so not helpful. All right, well, I hope, Jack Owen, that the volume of the audio is better. Coming in here. Ah, yes, I see what you're talking about, Desk. I'll get there. So, continuing with the donos that I fell behind on. Angel Chobat, thank you for donating again. The containment guards were very easy to beat. If you want to catch me, you're going to have to do better. Perfect. So, trust me, all according to plan, you're being lulled into a false sense of security, and that's how we'll get you. Don't worry about it. You'll be in jail soon. And by jail, I mean containment. You know what I mean. Shorthand. We're jailers, apparently. Dihydrogen monoxide, thank you for donating again. No idea why other Foundation staff are so terrified of living above 40 degrees north in a snowy rural village. Seriously, there's nothing to worry about. Dude. Not all of us are trained soldiers chasing after the Yule Man for some reason. Some of us are nerdy little scientists who like to stay in our office and not deal with life-ending threats. So, with that in mind, no thank you. You have fun up there. Silent Follower, thank you for donating again. I won't rejoin the next one, but it was fun to hang out despite the lag. Well, hopefully we fix that lag issue. We will continue to see. Put that there where it's very easy to read. Okay. We are stacked. We are good to go. Robin, thank you for donating again. Hey, Sherm, have you ever tried HEMA? I'm sure you'd like it. So, I have not done HEMA specifically, but I've worked in the stage combat field with people who have. And so while I've not done that, I've done some minor stage combat training here and there. I do work with people who still practice HEMA to this day, and it seems pretty cool. If I still lived around that area, I think I might give it a try as well. And Gamer77, thank you for donating again, and just a donation. All right, and with that, I am caught up, and we are here on proper stream. You guys can see me. I'm in the office. I'm wearing my proper lab coat because I am in the office setting. Desk gave Steve the day off. That explains a lot. All right, let me pull up another browser so I can keep chat. Boom. And I'll put chat over here. This down here. And shrink that. This is why I prefer doing it the way I was before. It's so much less to interact with. I can just easy peasy here. I would like to beg to differ, by the way, just in case anyone gets any ideas, that Steve is some sort of important figure in this stream. That Steve is someone we should be worrying about being around. Because Steve's not that important. I just want that known. Let's not give Steve too much credit. Let's not let it go to his head. Okay? Okay. We're fair here. Now, I've got the browser here for the wiki database again. I've got... Oh, that's wrong. I gotta lower that. I guess I've gotta widen that. Oh, there we go. Now I can see. Good. Clear. Crystal clear. What site do you work at? Brent? Brent? I want you to look at the channel name carefully. If you're going to work for the Foundation, I need you to up your observational skills. You don't want to be missing simple things like that. I tell you, it's going to cause you a lot of trouble. Sheeny, good to see you in the chat. Thank you for being a member. See if I move a little bit this way, a little bit this way, I can lengthen the microphone, aim it at myself, and make this clearer. Good, 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 good. Would the cordyceps from The Last of Us cause a world-ending event? Well, they seem to in that universe, so that would be my first guess. But were that to happen in a world with a proper SCP foundation, I'm sure we could have solved this. I mean, we do in fact contain SCP-008, a literal zombie virus. So we've got a pretty good eye on things when it comes to that kind of containment structure. I don't think we have to worry about much. Nabe Rubenshar, thank you for your first donation to today's stream, and I guess get some coffee because you stole my coffee mug is what you're saying. I've been looking for that. That's annoying. Michael Mays, thank you for becoming a Site 42 subscriber. There should be a cross test between 542 and 049. Wanted Beverage, thank you for being a member, but it worries me your suggestion. So I'm going to go look that up real quick to make sure you're not going to end the world. Air Chirug, kept in an 8x8x8 cube. Why do we... Or no, it's not a cube this time. Thankfully, it's not a cube this time. Dead bolted. Alright, claims it has been at one time the typical human of Caucasian descent, identifying as German, with first language, request to be called a surgeon by staff. Okay, so it's a German 049 as opposed to a French 049. By the way, you guys do remember that 049 is in fact French, right? Like, I do enjoy Dr. Miller's voicing of 049, but it is a French anomaly, and so you got to make sure you have that accent in the back of your head, because outside of dramatic reproductions that we do for your benefit, if we were to have 049 actually voice the logs, it would be French, and that would be really funny if you're not imagining that. Alright, so 542 has been described as a Frankenstein's monster. May hide his odd features under heavy clothing. Improper terminology here. They're using his instead of its. That's not how anomalies work in the documentation. So many improper pronouns in this SCP document. Giving him, his knees, blah, 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 blah. Who wrote this? I'm going to need to... Oh. You know what? You know what? Just tell Dr. Wrights that I am sorry and I meant nothing by it. Okay? Dr. Wrights is allowed to write whatever they want, and I can't get mad at them. And I wasn't mad. Don't tell Dr. Wrights that I was mad. Because I wasn't. I wasn't at all. Not at all. Long story short, because 542 is in fact dead, I believe it would not be terrible to allow it to test with 049. Oh, it does do murder a lot. In that being the case, maybe I don't want 542 testing with 049. That actually seems more dangerous. At least 049 is ostensibly trying to not do murder. But it seems like 542 is just up for murder. Don't need that drama in my life. Nope, nope, nope. Angel, thank you for donating again. Hello, I was worried for a sec. I thought I would miss the stream. Well, I thought I would miss the stream too. I am glad we seem to be up and running, at least for now. In this altered setup, in my main office instead of the back office. It's not so much an office hours as it's an office hours now. But we have to do what we have to do. Desk, if I'm not allowed to murder, neither are these SCPs. Amen. Have you seen SCP The Hallways? I have not yet seen SCP The Hallways. It is on my list of 3 current new SCP short films that I'm going to look at reacting to soon, because it's been quite a month for SCP short films, apparently. We have on the list right now, coming over to here in my playlists. I want to make sure I don't accidentally start a YouTube video in the background. Oh, this is going to be bad. Do it quick, do it quick. Okay, we're fine, we're fine. The Switch is the only one that I've seen right now. SCP horror comedy short film, The Switch. And I liked that one. I'll give you a reaction to that soon. And then The Hallways is the longest of the ones I have to look at. I better bring some popcorn for that one. But we'll take a look at that one soon. And then SCP short film, The Beginning of the End, is another one that I found, but I know not very much about it. So for those last 2, I'm going to have to check them out. Or actually all 3, because I need to react to even the first one, even though I've already seen it. That way I can bring it to more people's attention and help boost these SCP short films so that their creators keep making more SCP short films. That way, we get bigger and better ones. The better they get, the better they make. We end up with SCP the movie, like we were talking about at the beginning of the first Broken stream. So, Zerdrin, how's my day going? It's been a rough one. Our streams have been very faulty, but we seem to be up and running finally. Dihydrogen monoxide, thank you for donating again. Counterpoint, Clef can murder, but only if someone tries to steal 999. Well, we're allowed to do a lot of things when anomalies are trying to be stolen, but murder, again, is a last resort because if we murder them, we can't interrogate them or make them suffer. Pigeon Dudes, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a roast kiwi on your way past the commissary, since you're talking about kiwi birds but posting a fish. Very confusing combination there. Not gonna lie, my most favorite lore SCP is 001, the Red Sun, so Daybreaks, because of the 096 story and much, much more lore. An 096 story? Are you talking about Mr. Illustrated's series on When Daybreaks? Because I'm not familiar with an 096 story. That's a sandbox. I'm not familiar with the story you're talking about. Who was it here? Tompers. But maybe you'll tell me more in a future chat. Gamer77, thank you for donating again. And how scary is Cabin in the Woods? Cabin in the Woods is, on one hand, a horror movie, a general horror movie, but it definitely has a lot more shades of horror comedy and black comedy. So I'd say it's a little less scary than your standard horror movie, but it still has some monsters, some violence, some jump scares. So I'd personally call it like a 5 out of 10, barely past medium scary. Although I am also a horror junkie who works at the SCP Foundation, so my scare tolerance is higher than a lot of people's, so be aware of that. Amber, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself an overpriced beer on your way past the commissary because you had a good night off at the OK Go concert. That's awesome. Glad you were able to experience that. Live music is always a blast. What would you classify a kind of mirror that mimics instead of reflecting? Well, if it's just an anomalous mirror, if it doesn't go anywhere, if it doesn't spit out anything that can, like, break containment, then you're dealing with a safe class anomaly. But if it can do things like mimic you and, like, take you into the mirror and pull itself out so that a clone of you is in public, and that clone can try and escape, well, that becomes a Euclid. Because now we can't just put a... Well, we probably could still just put a curtain over it and call it contained. The issue would only be if the mirror itself breached containment. So probably safe. An anomalous mirror will likely be safe unless there's something specific that makes it more difficult to contain. Justice. I want a Suicide Squad-esque SCP series. I wonder, what do you consider a Suicide Squad-esque series in this way? Is it like you've got a bunch of Mobile Task Force members who get picked off one at a time over the course of the event? Is it something where you've got a ragtag group of SCPs that are doing the adventure for some reason? Maybe there's a containment breach and all of the cells on one floor opened, and so those anomalies have to work together to survive whatever incursion there is. Maybe. There's a lot of good ways to do SCP media. It's just because we're a smaller community and we have the Creative Commons, so people like Netflix and or Amazon would not want to take a risk on it financially. If we can keep building up our people in the arts community, we could do it ourselves. That's half the point of the Site 42 project, is bringing those things to light, and if we get enough of a budget, then we'll make it ourselves. Desk is working on a Suicide Squad-style SCP story. Clef, Sumerian, and Harkness, the dead men walking, because they are 2/3 immortal, is basically a buddy cop story. I hope you didn't mind me spoiling that. I'm sorry if that's a secret. My bad. I hope it rocks, though. Oop. Dr. Pepper Dragon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Mr. Pibb on your way past the commissary for irony points. SCP-1730 would make a fantastic horror movie. I would imagine it would. A little action horror. Kind of got that Doom vibe going. Because they're going into a place, but they are armed if you're doing the Samsara side of things. That would not be bad. Arrow Ace Grim Cascade, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some grits on your way past the commissary. The kaleidoscope has been contained. Is that something I should know about? The kaleidoscope. There's a lot of things called kaleidoscope on the database. I'm seeing listings for SCP-4156 using the kaleidoscope. 4342 has something to do with it. 8817 mentions Project Kaleidoscope Dreams. Is this what you're all talking about? In the meantime, Tristan, Sam, and the Juggernaut, thank you for becoming Site 42 subscribers. Welcome to the team. Crystal points out the whole point of the kaleidoscope is that you don't know if it is contained. Interesting. But isn't it something that we use, based on what I'm reading here? They are to be brought to storage given false memories of their time outside of SCP-4156-1 via use of kaleidoscope, and return to 4156-1 at an appropriate date. Learning computer Tau 2, codename Howard, is to procedurally generate media content for consumption by specimens of SCP-4156-2. So that, we're using Kaleidoscope there. I'm not quite sure. Dreamscape Traveler, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some Snickers bars on your way past the commissary. Hi all, I hope you guys are doing well. How's your day been, Dr. Sherman? Well, now that the technology for the stream is working, much better. Much better. Angel, thank you for donating again. How has your stream been holding up now? I'm hearing no complaints. Gamer, thank you for donating again. Would it be possible to kill 4419 with 096? 4419. Don't know that one by heart. Let me go look up what it is. 4419. The Butcher's Chariot. Due to an expansive range of circumstances in which 4419 manifestations occur, containment effort are to focus on information control and post-manifestation cleanup rather than physical imprisonment. Okay, okay. You didn't see that. You saw nothing. You see nothing. Okay, we're back. So, a vehicle resembling an ambulance of varying make and model, which will spontaneously appear in an area shortly before a medical emergency arises. In cases where this is not feasible, victims of SCP-4419 are brought to custody and possibly euthanized. Oh my. Wow. We don't know how 4419 predicts medical emergencies. Proceed directly to the injured individual. Secured and taking it, leaves the area at extreme speeds, disappearing the moment it is outside of observation. 2 to 7 days later, the victim will be returned outside a local area, suffering from extreme and invasive bodily modifications. So, 4419 is a ambulance who steals people and messes them up real bad. And meanwhile, as we know, 096 is the shy guy. I don't feel like there's really any interaction between an anomalous ambulance and seeing a face. I don't know that a ambulance can see a face. So I don't think we're going to get much of a reaction from that combination of anomalies. J Pendragon, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some cappuccino on your way past the commissary. How to not recognize the bodies besides not looking at them? Well, the cognitive resistance value is your big key here. You need to train your brain to hold reality in your head and to not let the anomalies in. That's thing one. Thing two would then, of course, be chanting the mantra, answering the questions on the test properly, because if you answer the questions properly, it means you probably don't recognize the bodies, because you wouldn't be saying that you're recognizing the bodies. You're saying that you don't recognize the bodies. So it's all about mental training. It's mind over matter over anomaly. That's how it goes. O96 is being transported to Site 42, just saying. Of course, Pickens, that is by design. We have some tests to do later today, and we require O96 for them. The question is simply, what tests are we going to do? You'll find out on the roster after we get off stream. Patriotism is its finest. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Go get yourself some apple pie on your way past the commissary. Arrow Ace, thank you for donating again. Do non-sentient animals affect 173? And if so, would an aquarium full of fish be an effective way of containing it? So we know that the iPods work on 173, and the iPods are, I think, of a slightly higher intelligence than your average cat, which they're compared to. But I don't believe that SCP-173 specifically handles animals in any way. Checking in the database. I don't remember testing this on the database proper, but a lot of people hypothesize that animals may be able to hold 173 still. But the thing is, an animal, even if an animal can hold SCP-173 still, you're going to have to battle with the fact that the animals probably aren't smart enough to keep looking at it. And so, it's possible that as soon as they get distracted and look away, they're going to get snapped, or at least 173 is going to leave if it doesn't want to harm animals. That's my idea here. Okay, Terragal, thank you for donating again. Just letting you know, 049 is in the chat, is claiming to have breached and also stolen a guard's phone. Well, first of all, don't believe everything you read, because we're on the internet. Even if this is a Foundation-limited chat, we know plenty of people at the Foundation who are avid trolls. Desk. And so, with that in mind, we can't believe everyone calling themselves 049. It's highly possible that it's just an impersonator having some laughy laughs. Because I do believe 049 is actually out on a mission with that mobile task force that it has been working with. But I would have to check in. Let me see real quick. 049, security feed. The tag. Oh, well, the tag is on site, meaning that the mission has ended. So there is that. That does lead some credence to this. Still a little worried, though. I'm looking into the chat. Okay, I see the 049 you're speaking of. Wait a minute. This one might be from another canon / another universe. Oh, that's going to give me a headache or at least a nosebleed. Patriotism in its finest. Thank you for donating again. And this time you have a question. Could you contain hard-to-contain SCPs in 1861? Well, let me look at SCP-1861. The Crew of the HMS Wintersheimer by Pepper's Ghost. Excellent SCP author. Anomalous meteorological phenomenon characterized by heavy precipitation and fog composed of salt water, human blood, and human cerebrospinal fluid? This is what you're talking about? Unpredictable manifestations appearing spontaneously with no regard to an affected area's natural climate and weather patterns. Manifestations typically occur once every 3 to 6 months and have been recorded occurring in the numerous regions across the world. Historical records have confirmed that 1861 has existed since as early as the year 1916. Size of the area covered by 1861 varies from instance to instance. Single underwater marine vessel. Looks like a B-class boat. Surface in a body of water. Natural and man-made bodies of water have hosted manifestations of 1861-A. If no body of water large enough to contain the entirety of 1861-A is present, it will surface in any collection of water where the surface area large enough to encompass its conning tower and uppermost platform. Are you asking if I want to put anomalies in a boat? No, I don't want to stack anomalies in here because the odds are that when it resurfaces, they'll just come back out, right? When this rain stops, you're going to die. I'm not kidding. You're going to die unless you follow me back into our submarine. You'll be safe there. Just tell me what's going to happen after the rain stops. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Try me. This isn't regular rain. It's not from this world. There's another world, a horrible world, and it's leaking into this one. Don't look at me like that. You can see for yourself that this isn't normal rain. It's thick. It's red. You have to trust me. I'm begging, saving your life. Yeah, no. We're not putting anomalies in there because we can't test them if they're gone. It's that simple. We can't research anomalies if they're not in containment. So we would absolutely not do that. Draconic Destruction. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a bag of A positive on your way past the commissary. Can you check out 4217 Contain the Bismarck? It's my most favorite SCP, mostly because my favorite ship is the Bismarck. So, I am familiar with the Bismarck by name. Funny how we're talking about a lot of boats today. 4217. So what I do know is it's a rather long story. It's not something we're going to read here on stream. That would take too long. But, yeah, we have a large gunnery ship, a German battleship, and a large cephalopod organism that is fused to the inside of its hull. Octopoid eyes protruding from the base of 4217-A superstructure. The octopod activates the ship. I believe we have some sort of battle at some point. We presumably neutralize, formerly Keter, in a bout with the British Royal Navy. We rescued the crew, not us, but the British did. Dive team is submerged for several hours, past what their oxygen supplies allowed. Cutting an umbilical cord. It's a living boat. I don't have a whole lot to jump on here to chew on because we're all pretty familiar with this anomaly. Now, what you'll want to check out if this is your favorite thing is you want to go to the Series 5 listing page. Remember, in the 4000s, that doesn't mean it's Series 4 because Series 1 is all of the non-thousands. So you want to go to Series 5 for the 4000 series. And then check out the Series 5 Tales Edition listing. Because then what you'll be able to do is go to 4217 and, oh, I'm sorry to say, the Bismarck does not have any tails attached to it. I'm actually a little shocked. As popular as that article tends to be, I would imagine the Bismarck had some tails. Let me do a quick database search. I'm a little surprised by that. Tails. 4217. A lot of SCP channels reading the Bismarck. Also a reminder while I'm scrolling this to remember that 4217 is not the Bismarck itself. It is the octopod controlling and living within the Bismarck. That's an important distinction from our laconic designation of the Foundation. No tails. I'm actually quite shocked by that. I would have imagined there would be. Dark Red, thank you for joining us for a short time. Good luck packing. It's tiring, I understand that. Researcher Shriner, thank you for, besides being a member, gifting 5 memberships to the Site 42 staff in the chat. If you are getting a membership from Researcher Shriner, make sure to thank them properly. Lance, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some Swiss cheese on your way past the commissary. How likely is the SCP containment breach scenario to happen, assuming you know the full story of that game? So there are many who believe that it was a case of it already happening, and the game is a record of that scenario's various outcomes in different universes. That being said, now that we know of the scenario there, we definitely have security in the site organized in a manner to not let such a chain of unfortunate accidents cause such a problem. So back in the day, might have been more common. Nowadays, not a problem. Sminley, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a milkshake on your way past the commissary. Please check on Mallow. I'm getting reports their tracker has gone dark. Council Member 4. How did you get a tracker on a Mallow? They're incorporeal. You can only see them in like mirrors and things. Visions of them. You can't actually touch them. Unless you got a conceptual tracker. That's interesting. Well, either way. I'm assuming this is your Mallow that you're talking about. Because unless you'd be containing someone else's Mallow. Strange. And I might as well at the same time do what I did for the Bismarck and see what the Mallow tails are like. I know there's the Mallow tail with the one that can actually talk to its quote-unquote owner / subject. Oh, I'm not in the right list. Tails Edition. 1471. Yeah, Capone is the one I knew about. But then additional resources, tasers and thermite. Are we there yet? Ball gags and scrambled eggs. Don't fraternize with the anomalies, please. I don't care how furry and kink adjacent it is. Do not fraternize with the anomaly. Up to no good. Really? Really? Ball gags and scrambled eggs is followed by up to no good? I'm gonna need a nap after this. And Kit's Horror Hospital of Horror. Well, I think the second horror is just overkill there. But yes, so those are SCP-1471 tales that you can look into. Maybe you will find your Mallow in there somewhere. IDC Gaming, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a morose meal on your way past the commissary. It's like a Happy Meal, but not. Hey Doc, long-time viewer, first-time donator. Well, thank you kindly. Unsure if it's been discussed, but what are your opinions on the Mr. Illustrated form of the When Daybreaks universe? So, what I have not experienced Mr. Illustrated's videos on this. I know it's no secret that a lot of YouTubers are so caught up in their own work that we find it hard to go watch everybody else's. That's I'm a victim of, and so Illustrated puts up enough videos that I'm definitely a patron supporting him, but also I got to catch up on some of his work. But I do know, I think for a fact, that Dr. Sumerian is on the writing staff for that universe, and I trust Dr. Sumerian's writing as a prolific SCP author that he is, so I'm sure that the story is pretty well made in that sense. We put our faith in Sumerian, who has a YouTube channel you can go check out as well, although I think he's slightly inactive right now. Volstiv, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to get yourself some cud on your way past the commissary. Could the 3 pixels of 096 get Clef killed? Well, I don't know about 3 pixels. We know 4 pixels is the meme. And so that's one thing. But secondarily... Oh, Desk, if you got some lore master answer here on Clef v 096, I do not know about such a crossover event. And so if you have some behind-the-scenes knowledge, I would be interested in your take. Meanwhile, I'll look up that. Well, the first thing I read here is Clef had hung on his office wall a framed 4-foot by 5-foot photograph of 096, its face clearly visible for all to see. That's the first thing I found. Excuse me. Kondraki hung his head in disappointment and considered how only the fact that he was now in a relationship with Clef was stopping him from making the man a quadriplegic for the second time. Sumerian is also involved in this tale. Elias Shaw is here, wondering if 096 would kill him only once or each time he took a new body. That we've discussed before. Gears is the only one who was unmoved by the situation. I believe that. Oh! This is a tale after they have decommissioned 096, which is why they're not afraid to post its picture. Clef is absolutely immune to 096. There was even an author-approved Easter egg that was originally planned for Info Hazard, where they are watching a movie together and you read all the other stuff. Interesting. I wonder what makes Clef immune to 096 in that matter. Because he would perceive the Anomalys face, which is the trigger. But there's that whole reality sync. Anomalies don't work around it. So maybe the reality synciness of Clef is protecting him from 096's sense that he knows. That would be my guess. The hey sir, I need to know why I have a door to SCP-3008 in my house. The only way that would be possible is if you built your house on the front door of the IKEA that opens into 3008. Because there is only one door. We know that much. Now, if you're in another universe, it seems weird that your house would have a door to any IKEA, let alone the infinite one. But I've heard of weirder things. Either way, stay safe. Don't go in there. It's a bad idea. Nicolas, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a Twinkie Wiener sandwich on your way past the commissary. What's up, Dr. Sherman? Been playing the first Helldivers game, and I'm 90% certain I found an enemy that behaves like 682. Not much research after it. Threw a tank at me. I played Helldivers 1 back on release. It was a fun game. Unfortunately, in the years since, my gaming cadre has lessened to the point where when I bought Helldivers 2, I didn't really have a lot of people to play it with. So, oof. Sheeny. Yes, that was a Weird Al Yankovic / UHF reference. Good catch. But I'm not sure about an anomaly similar to 682 in Helldivers 1. I'll have to look into that. Sminley, thank you for donating again. Please alert a squad. She's in 914's area. She? You're talking about a Mallow again. So, a she Mallow. Remember, pronoun check. It's an it. Not a he, not a she. Anomalies are objects, not people. It's an it. Use proper terminology. Your Foundation staff, you gotta do this right. And if a entity of Mallow were within the 914 area, it really wouldn't do very much. Again, Mallows are incorporeal. They just kind of sit there and haunt you. I guess I need to read the other Mallow tales and make sure to take proper amnestics afterwards for some of those titles. But see what kind of corporeality I'm missing out on. If there is any. Volstiv, thank you for donating again. So then, is there any chance of Clef going up against the Scarlet King? Also love your videos. I'm checking on a Clef response right now, actually. Desk, on behalf of the Clef Lore Keepership, claims that Clef would definitely go against the Scarlet King, likely wouldn't survive, but would love to have a fight and wreck it. Probably wouldn't win, it sounds like, but would definitely go down fighting. Patriotism is its finest. Thank you for donating again. If you put 035 on 096, would it still make 096 go into his hunt mode, or would the mask prevent him from going into that hunt mode? My 99% guess is that 035 would properly overwrite Shy Guy's mentality, and therefore it would no longer matter if 096 face got saw, because the mask would just use this now basically invulnerable body to wreak havoc, which is a terrible idea, and that's why we're not letting that happen. I do know of one tale on the wiki proper where 682 put the mask on, and oh, that was not a good time. I'm trying to remember the name of that one. 682... plus 035. I know for a fact. Maybe I can find it in the Tails list for 682. Do-do-do-do. Duke till dawn, addressing the second. Scrolling through so many frickin' stories about 682. Cause everybody likes that 682. Even though it's a giant dork and a jerk. And we shouldn't like 682, cause it keeps trying to destroy me and you. But for some reason people like it, and that's weird. I can't find the tale I was thinking about. A very funny tale about 682 is the Dragon and the Pesterbot. I like that one. We have that one recorded for the channel. And also, I believe we have a reading of the tale as well. So I'm going to check my database to see if I can find... Show all. Contains the word tale. Whiskey business, cube, ethics committee orientation, swatches of a sunrise. Their loved ones in the glory, log of anomalous dates, it's Halloween, a ghoulish tale, addressing the second. Oh, it is addressing the second. I recognize the name, I just didn't think that was the one. Shows what I know. So, addressing the second is a 682 wearing 035 tale. Good to know. Where was I? Robin, thank you for donating again. Field trip test. Do you recognize the bodies in the water? I don't, but the test is about you. Oh, I absolutely don't recognize any bodies. I barely recognize the water, thank you very much. Random Fandom, thank you for being a member. You know, Skippy, how do I get it to stop playing out erasing everything I write? I know I'm not good at following the formatting. You need to get good at the formatting. Because Skippy does not suffer the foolhardiness of those who do not stick with the format. Flame Games, where's SCP-096 at? Currently in transit to Site 42 for testing. Anomaly Class Keter. Hello, Doctor. May I have a bigger box? No. Salem. You are not cool yet. We are not cool yet. They are not cool yet. None of it is cool. Slenderman is an anomaly, not an SCP. You're darn right, Wanted Beverage. If it's not on the SCP database, it can be anomalous all at once, but it's not technically an SCP. Half-Cat, why don't you just make prosthetic legs for Josie? Because it doesn't need prosthetic legs. It walks just fine with 2 legs, so there's no need for it. Why would we add that on? Seems like a waste of resources. Robin, thank you for donating. Are we cool yet? And are and always will be cringe. I mean, they're just so snooty. And their art installations are so basic. The moral is never that clever. I like that I rhymed that. Never that clever. And so, yeah, they're just pretentious. That's all. Desk. Do you think the Day of Flowers from SCP-1000 Bigfoot that nearly wiped out their population could be a reference to Lily's proposal, World Gone Beautiful? Well, I would think it would have to be the other way around, if only because I believe SCP-1000 was written far before Lily's proposal. 1000 was written in 2011, and scroll. World's Gone Beautiful was written 7 years later in 2018. So that's my first thought. Now, that being said, I mean, it could certainly be a reverse situation. Going back to 1000 real quick. And Control F. We're at 70% of SCP-1000's population in a single day. The Day of Flowers, the children called it. Supposedly every flower bloomed that day, while our enemies died in their sleep. The rest, then we hunted the rest down, but went further than just killing them. With a few more of the twisted of SCP-1000's devices, we drove the survivors mad, even those hiding beyond our reach. We trapped them in their own minds, blocking higher functions and leaving their bodies to fend for themselves like any ordinary ape. We slaughtered their living machines and burned their vast shining cities with SCP-1000's bioweapons that reduced everything to slurry and dust that washed or blew away in spring rain and wind. That's dire. Volstiv, thank you for donating again. How many human SCP personnel would it take to take out the Scarlet King? Clef, Kondraki, Kane, technically, etc. Well, if you go through my Scarlet King declassified video here on the channel, I know it's a bit older, there are some news stories past then, but one of the tales mentioned is the capstone finale of the Scarlet King's invasion of our reality, and it ends with 7 anomalous individuals wielding 7 anomalous spears to defeat the Scarlet King once and for all. And so, not quite 3, but 7. And it wasn't necessarily Foundation staff, though. It was anomalous entities from across the Foundation verse. That being said, if we needed to use Foundation staff, I don't know that we might be outclassed, because some of those other entities that fought the Scarlet King were pretty big. Jellylegs, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a G&T on your way past the commissary. Help, 049 just gave 682 the gender switching stone. Oh no, this is going to be a Doki Doki anomaly situation all over again, isn't it? You may not date the horrible eldritch lizard. I do not care if it becomes a pretty girl. No. Let me, just for the sake of it, images. And let me pull that here. Open it. And let me, from my rig here, if you're going to make me remember this exists, I'm going to make sure that you remember it exists too. Oh, that didn't work. Where have I gone? Where have I gone? And I'm back. I am alive. Oh, Ethan, you're right. We currently have more likes than viewers. Congratulations, Site 42 staff. Your efforts are successful. Now, as I was saying, what if I properly from there oh, that doesn't work. That's why. Try again. Add source. There we go. That's where it is. I just need to boom, 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 and boom. So this is what you're interested in over there, giving 449 the gender-switching stone jelly legs? Well, it's too bad. You are not going to fraternize with this Anomalous 682 lady thing. It is a problem that you're interested in doing so, and I'm going to send you to on-site therapy to deal with this issue. Okay. Where was I? Get rid of that. We need to burn that. Never see that again. Terrible. Also, don't go play Doki Doki Anomaly on Steam. Not sponsored by them or anything, and you definitely shouldn't be thinking about fraternizing with anomalies, please. Zaragosta, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some fried chicken on your way past the commissary. When will you do more? X isn't an SCP, but if it was, my vote is for Warehouse 13. I am currently working on the script for the first, new and improved, X is not an SCP, but if it was. I've gotten an outline set. I'm working with Desk on the critique back and forth. Got to flesh it out a little bit. But we're definitely making the format more expansive. The videos are going to be longer and more detailed than they used to be. And so I want to make sure I get this right. Warehouse 13 is a pretty good idea, although I need to watch the whole show first. I like to be knowledgeable on the subject that I'm trying to study. So I got some research to do. Robin St. Pierre, thank you for donating again. I think I know what the pestilence is. Ignorance of SCP-729 does... Oh my god. Oh my god, I taste it. Ugh. It would be nice if I had the pestilence, if that's what it were. Ugh. Meanwhile, have sweet dreams. Ha 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 ha. Oh, also, what do you think of Hima's Germanic longsword traditions, or the numerous side sword traditions? Well, as I said in the previous stream, maybe you didn't get it because of the lag, but I'm not exactly familiar with Hema outside of knowing its name and knowing some friends of mine who participate back home in Florida. So I don't know a lot about their setup, but I think anything that lets you go swing swords around and learn how to do that properly is cool on its face. Volstiv, thank you for donating again. So who would you rather go out for drinks with, Kondraki or Clef? Also, is Clef the actual devil, or is that just another lie? So, first and foremost, somehow, I feel less scared of going out for drinks with Clef. Kondraki, that guy, is wild. Unpredictable in a manner that even I find Clef to be the less dangerous of the two. Meanwhile... Yes, to quote the Joker, if I'm going to have an origin story, why can't it be multiple choice? Is the Clef response to your, is that the devil or not, answer. So, yeah, we're just gonna have to leave it there. Clef died, rip, says the ant. Well, unfortunately, sometimes he gets better. It's a whole thing. Requesting permission to vacation in SCP-7819. Interesting. Well, you should be due for a vacation, probably. It is the right time of year. 7819, no vacancy. If you're currently under the influence of 7819, please immediately refer to Addendum 1. That's worrying for you. Predatory location that manifests along the exits of the United States numbered highway system. Of course it is. Presents as a small roadside hotel or motel, although the exact layout may vary. Advertising vacant rooms, always identified by exterior signage as the Rest Easy Inn. It'll manifest if it's between midnight and 4 a.m. local time zone. Driver of the vehicle must have been driving for over 5 hours, discounting small breaks. Driver must be past or present Foundation employee. And the driver must be alone in the vehicle. Interesting. So I must deny your request here. We're still actively studying this anomaly. And it seems like if you go into it, you're going to have a bad time. So, nah. Let's say no to that. Find a better vacation spot, please. Why not guitar? Thank you for your exceedingly generous donation today. Make sure to grab yourself a full course meal cooked by SCP-5031 at the commissary on your way past. Question. I found an acoustic guitar that forces, maybe not sure yet, people to play it. Normal people with little to no experience seem to become adept, while those that do become masters. Not sure how to write the file on this. Any tips? Interesting. Let me check the database for anomalous guitars. Probably tagged as music or instrument. We'll find out shortly. Instrument. I swear I saw that earlier. QRST. Interview. International Interactive. Inscription. Intangible. Intcanoncon. Integration. Isabel. INS. Insectel. Okay, so it's not instrument. What about music? Music. All right, musical is a tag we can use. Does musical include musical instruments? Yay or nay? Planetary core drill bits. 1426, that's not a musical instrument. The jazz station. Okay, so this is anomalies that can play music as well. That makes sense. Alright, so if there is no musical instrument tag, it's going to be hard for me to find anomalous guitars straight away. I will try a full database search. Let's go with guitar. We search and it works. Birth by Guitar. Enigma guitar. Avalon mentions a guitar, but it's just people talking about playing guitar. There doesn't seem to be an actual anomalous guitar here. Interesting. I would have thought we had one. But in the log of anomalous items, of which there are so many, and this is actually where I thought it would end up. One anomalous tambourine that produces the sound of a guitar. A tambourine that plays guitar. Huh. Interesting. Well, my trick here is that for your anomaly, why not guitar? I believe that something that is a guitar that gives you skills like that, on its own would simply be in the log of anomalous items, which is a, well, log of anomalous items that aren't quite meaty enough to be SCPs. So when you're looking at SCPs, there's usually more to the story. It's harder to contain. There's something going on. There's a history that we need to look into. And so this doesn't have that on its face. But maybe you've got something in the back of your mind. Maybe there's maybe it's got the ghost of an old blues player who influenced you and teaches you. But then the guitar, maybe like the shoes that help you dance, it makes you play guitar until your fingers bleed or something and then you die. Traps your soul in the guitar. Is there more to it than just a guitar that improves your musicianship? Or maybe there's a story of someone using it in an interesting way so that the guitar became like it. This guitar has been used by every of the most favorite bands in humanity's history. And so it's like gone from person to person to person, but also it curses them in a way or something. There's a lot of ways to do anomalous objects to make them more than just a thing that does a thing. That's the big deal, is don't make it just a thing that does a thing. That's in the log of anomalous items. You want something that has a story behind it that makes people want to check into it more. And you're saying it's not recorded yet. I'm currently working on it. Well, thank you for donating again to say that. And, yeah. So take these story tips in mind. Good luck on your Anomalous Guitar SCP. I hope to check it out when it's up on the wiki. Zaragosta, do you recognize the bodies in the water? I absolutely don't. I recognize no bodies. The water is wet. I can recognize that, but that's not part of the problem. So all is well. And I'm pretty sure that as long as you don't recognize the bodies either, we're all going to have a peachy keen day, baby. I got this bottle of orange juice and SCP-999 came out. Well, I do believe they were doing a test separating a section of SCP-999 for testing. And so if they ended up having to contain it in an orange juice box, that kind of makes sense. I would just let it make its way back to 999 if the test is over. Volstiv, thank you for donating again. Scalpel that, when it cuts fully through an object, carrot for example, both halves grow the other half back. If a person is decapitated with said item, which one is the original and safe category? So I do know we have an anomalous scalpel of some sort as a starting line. Scalpel. Well, 1109 is the doctor's bag. That's it. 523 can change object types. It disguised itself as a scalpel. So that's... It turned into a chainsaw when the doctor tried to use it. That's pretty dangerous. Alright, well, a scalpel on its own would be safe class. Unless it can do something to escape, and if we can just put it in a box, it's safe regardless. Meanwhile, if you cut a person in two and it grows the original back, then you're dealing with two of the same people. You wouldn't really say there's an original, because you just turned one thing into two things. So actually, the original is gone. Now you have two clones of what was once an original thing. So think about that. You just killed a person to create two of that people. Neither one is the original. Huh, that's the trick question. Terragal, thank you for donating again. I was performing an experiment with 953 and now it is flirting with me. Help, I do not want to fraternize with it, but I'm curious where this goes. Listen. I hate to burst your bubble, but you sound like one of those people that goes out to a restaurant and when the waitress is nice to you, you think they're hitting on you. Nah, it's their job and you're misinterpreting it. I bet that you're one of those people who's a little bit of a step on me type. If you're interested in 953 as a subject for this kind of fantasy. And so when 953 growled at you in an angry way, because that's what 953 does. It is a rude and angry anomaly that has nothing but contempt for our staff. I bet you took it as a compliment and an invitation. Don't worry about it. Go interact with a human person of the gender expression that you would like to interact with, who is not an anomalous kumiho who will murder you. That is my suggestion for you. Put it out of your mind. It's just an accidental misunderstanding. You're fine. Unfailing Eagle. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a muskrat on your way past the commissary. Recognizing the bodies in the water is bad and all, but what about the ones in the hallway? The site's security. There's so much blood. Bodies in the hallway? What are you talking about? Database search. Oh, is this about that SCP hallway thing? Is this about that hallway thing? Yeah, I have to check that. The Backrooms inspired SCP short film, The Hallway. I haven't seen that, so I'm not exactly sure what that is. But I will soon, and I'll let you know my opinion of it when I react to it. What number will be Jason Voorhees? Well, Jason Voorhees is not an SCP because it is an anomaly from an outside IP. So it does not get an SCP designation. It is certainly, as far as I can tell, anomalous, though. The way it is completely perished and then come back and been to hell and back, I believe it to be anomalous, yes. Hey, Doc, the D-Class are planning a revolt. You didn't hear that from me, but I expect my bonus in the mail by next Monday. All right, well, King of Awesome, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a chalice of mead on your way past the commissary. And if your information turns out to be all right, then you'll get your bonus. But we're not going to murk a bunch of D-Class. We're not going to waste resources on a hunch. So we've got to be sure. We'll let you know if it checks out. Desk, do not support a D-Class uprising, please. That is outside of protocol. Quick question. Where does 173's fluid come out of? That is a great question. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't actually know where the fluid comes from. The mix of blood and feces that excretes from SCP-173. I am unknown of any source of where that comes from. I hate it. I don't want to think about that. That's gross. But we do need to know. Does SCP-682... does SCP-173 have a butthole? Well, that's upsetting. Thank you for that train of thought. Unfailing Eagle, thank you for donating again. The body's outside my office, I mean. Well, in that case, you should stay in your office until security gets there. Not the security that's dead, the security that's going to clean up. So just stay still. Desk believes that the fluid from 173 manifests without origin. Maybe it just shows up on the floor somehow. That's certainly more comfortable to me than the alternative. Volstiv, thank you for donating again. What's the Scarlet King's chances against the SCP that turns everything into flesh blobs in the sunlight? Also, how do SCP personnel prep for the scenario? So I believe when Daybreaks is not likely to affect the Scarlet King, seeing that the Scarlet King as an extra universal eldritch type entity probably has some fourth or fifth dimensional thing going on that makes light not affected in the same way that it affects you and I. So I do believe that that will nullify the issue. That's at least my first guess. And how do SCP personnel prep for the scenario? Well, now that we know about the scenario and what went down in that universe, I mean, first things first, if the sun turns into a deadly laser and melts us all, it's going to happen quick. And so if you're out in public, you're basically done for. But the security measures inside the sites and the bunkers have been amped up just in case of a scenario. Now, we can't give every site a when Daybreaks bunker. That's very expensive. Only certain sites that are critical and have critical personnel are going to be the ones that get Daybreak bunkers. Now, maybe we can raise funding to save more people, put them in more sites, but that's just up in the air right now. Sheeny, thank you for your extremely generous donation. Make sure to grab yourself I want you to grab yourself from the commissary a steak of your size and choosing, just any size or style of steak you wish, along with a loaded baked potato, some greens. Follow that up with a bananas Foster. It has to be flambéed, otherwise it's not proper. A small cup of ice cream on which to cover the now heated and properly cooked bananas Foster, and chase it with a wine from the reserved cellar. Thank you very much. SCP idea. Based on the caretakers everywhere at the end of time, instead of simulating dementia, listening to it gives you dementia. Where you stop listening determines the stage you're in, and listening in full leads to death. Based on the caretakers everywhere at the end of time, instead of simulating dementia, listening to it gives you dementia. Where you stop listening determines the stage you're in, and listening in full leads to death. Well, now I need to look up what the caretakers at the end of time are, because I'm not familiar. Okay, so this is a band and an album. Caretakers everywhere at the end of time. Comprised over 6 hours of music. Dag, yo. I have never heard of this. During the early 2020s, it became a YouTube TikTok phenomenon in the form of listening challenge and recommendation, after which caregivers of people with dementia praised the albums for increasing empathy among younger listeners. The series has since retained status as either a dark project or as a meme in internet culture, inspiring several similar projects by the caretaker fanbase. It appeared in a mod for the game Friday Night Funkin' and emerged as an aesthetic styles such as the analog horror genre, liminal spaces, and the backrooms. Huh. I am really wildly out of the loop on this one. And especially in 2020, I was knee-deep in the TikTok thing during the pandemic. So I feel like I would have seen this. You know what? There's an audio sample here. I'm going to give it a look. Well, that's weird. I'm not hearing anything. Oh. There we go. That was way down. Alright, so now I can hear. And I will pause the normal background music. And I will play this audio sample. Talking at least song-wise. I didn't have any context for it, but I did at least... I've heard that in so many videos. Okay, I feel a little less crazy now. I have definitely seen Backrooms videos utilizing that sound. Okay. Well, now I'm interested in the behind-the-scenes stuff with the, dementia situation. But okay. So, instead of simulating dementia, listening to it gives you dementia. Where you stop listening determines the stage you're in, and listening full-time leads to death. So as an anomaly music, honestly, the thing that tricks me out for that as an anomaly in and of itself is that it's basically just a song that kills you, right? You're gonna die or get dementia when you stop listening to a certain amount of it. I'm wondering if there was an extra thing it could do where there's a balance, like there's a benefit, like it takes you into a world that you can only perceive while you're listening, but the longer you're there, the more it's going to sap your mentality. So there's something that draws you to doing it, but you know it's a bad idea. That's the kind of thing that I would think about when trying to make that into an anomaly. But who knows? I'm just one guy. Maybe it's just fine on its own. Yeah, Monkey Boy, that song was really loud even in my ear. I hope it didn't deafen you guys. I apologize just in case. I forgot to fix the background music we were listening to in the first place. Let me know if that's too loud. Interesting. Zachary, you're saying Steve messed up the systems in Office Complex 6, but he's out today. Desk gave him the day off. So, is there another Steve? Is it a clone? Is it some sort of entity impersonating Steve? We do need to look into this. 096 can bleed. He has even been killed once. You are correct, Justus. 096 does bleed. We've taken chunks out of it before. Lowered a little bit. You got it. Boom. Drowsy, thank you for your first donation today. Up, my browser refreshing. Yeah, your first donation for the day. Make sure to grab yourself some cream puffs on your way past the commissary. What's the line between a metabolic disease and an anomalous affliction? How is the release of medical knowledge handled? Out of character, AP Bio student here. So, the difference between an anomalous disease and any other disease is how it functions in the body. And does it function in a logical way that real diseases do? Or is it some sort of crazy, made-up physical thing that doesn't retest with normal diseases? So, anomalous diseases are all over the place. If I go to the tags... Oh no. That was a bad tag to pick. Disease. Disease. Alright, there's not disease. So it's got to be infectious. It's got to be infectious. No, not infectious. Virus? There we go. Infectious viruses. 66 examples on the SCPnet database. So let's look at SCP-371, the macrovirus. It's a macroscopic marine virus, similar in appearance to a bacteriophage. 371 specimens range in size from 20 centimeters to 2.5 meters. So that's a very anomalous virus because it's frickin' huge. That's one way a virus can be anomalous. 5625, Team Nonanom and the Epidemic of Jamais Vu. Well, that's a lot. It's a human contractible negative strand RNA virus that attacks the central nervous system of its host. Individuals infected with 5625 typically display unfamiliarity with basic concepts, as well as a slight cough. So it makes them forget things. So that's another way a virus does not normally work, although, I mean, dementia's causes can be done in one way or another. Interesting. There's a lot to that. So yes, long story short, too late. If the virus acts as a virus normally does, doesn't matter the symptoms, it just matters if it's anomalous or not. That's the big deal. Go check out the virus tag on the SCP Wiki database for more information. Sheeny, thank you for donating again. The thing with Everywhere at the End of Time is as the album goes, the music degrades and becomes almost unrecognizable. It's incredibly unsettling. Have to have a little listening party. Put it on the background of some work and let it degrade away. Dihydrogen monoxide, thank you for donating again. Drinking game idea. Take it in turns to take shots, repeating after every round. Whoever passes out first goes on ketter duty the next day. Your drinking game is to drink. There's no other game involved. Just your drink is one person drinks and the next person drinks and they keep going. That you need a wider definition of game. You need to gamify this a little bit more. We're playing Drink the Shot. Yeah, you win. What do you get? Another shot. That's what it sounds like right now. Oh no, Amber, a drinking game where you drink a shot for a mention of 999 and 2 shots for 099 would drown the world in liquor, based on how this chat goes. So I would not suggest it. Jezza, hey, what happened since the stream? You were a D class. Haven't checked in a while. Well, obviously, I'm just fine. I survived swimmingly. I went through my shift as a D class. Everything went perfectly well. I only got mildly bruised in many parts of my body. But no big deal. Made it out alive. Unfailing Eagle, thank you for donating again. Hell yeah, brother, I'll drink to that. As long as you don't overdo it and cause yourself an issue, because then I will take the suggestion to hand out ketter duties. Do not cause yourself to cause issues for the Foundation due to your behavior while you're off shift. Please. Volcanic. D-Class here asking for a friend. What if the music anomaly makes you relive memories, but once you finish reliving it, you completely forget it? Oh. That's dire. Oh. Oh, I don't like that. And that I like it as a concept. Because then what you're going to do is you're going to have people tempted to relive their nice, happy memories with people who are long gone, but in return, they forget them after the fact. That's... Ow. Oh, my heart. Okay. You get the achievement of the day of making Dr. Sherman's chest hurt without having to mentioning that thing again. Ow. Good. Good on ya. Drowsy, thank you for donating again. Should have phrased better. You mentioned immunity to amnestics being anomalous. Isn't that just hypermetabolism? What's the mutation line of containment? Well, I do remember mentioning amnestics being immune to amnestics being anomalous. And that is likely because, you know, we know how amnestics work in the body. If someone is... Obviously, people have immunities in life. I guess you can build up an immunity to certain poisons, in fact. And so maybe you can also build up an immunity to amnestics. Although I feel like that's not super likely. I guess it's not impossible. Meanwhile, what's the mutation line of containment? Once again, I don't know what that last sentence means. Hypermetabolism, if I can make sure I'm perfectly on kosher here with definitions. Hypermetabolism is a state where the body's metabolic rate, or the rate at which it burns energy, is significantly elevated. This means the body requires more calories to perform basic functions and can lead to symptoms like weight loss, fatigue, and anemia. Often occurs when the body is under stress, such as during recovery from eating disorders, burns, sepsis, or other diseases. See, I thought we were talking about metabolizing a drug faster. I thought that's what you meant, but that's not this. What's the mutation line of containment? I'm sorry. It seems like you're just going over my head now with this series of questions. I apologize. I'll keep trying to see in the chat if you add more to this. Where are you, Drowsy? It applies in both cases. Okay, because yeah, I guess if you metabolize food, beverage, drugs, poisons faster than other people, that could be beneficial. If a poison's going to kill you, but you metabolize it faster than normal, it could save you. I don't know that that particularly applies to immunity to amnestics. I would say in general, if you have a kind of hyper metabolism that makes you immune to amnestics because they're going through your body that fast, you're probably metabolizing things in other unnatural ways that end up with you being anomalous in general. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Terragal, thank you for donating again. As a test, I entertained 953's flirting. It just tried to kiss me, so I'm certain it's flirting now. It might be trying to take advantage of my kindness towards it and get me to help it escape containment. If that's the case, it is certainly trying to seduce you, murder you, and escape containment. That thing does not like us. It does not like the Foundation staff. Do not trust it. And besides, we don't fraternize with the anomalies anyways. King of Awesome, thank you for donating again. Hey Doc, the D-Class are actively revolting now. Don't worry, I've handled it, but I want to raise and I want to be moved to a nicer facility, maybe a promotion. Let me read the after report. Let me make sure you didn't start this to cause yourself to get a benefit at the end of it. You will not believe how many times people cause the problems to try and get promoted. It's more than I would appreciate. Rowan, thank you for donating again. Oh, IRL political news? Is that what you're bringing into our Foundation chats? Well, not to say that we would care too much, because we don't answer to the federal government or any world government anyways. I will just quickly say that maybe it'll make the country run better. It's probably a meaningless gesture based on the way the politics are going right now. But, good luck for whatever they see going forward. Let's not dive too far down that realm. I don't want to get on a rant about politics during our office hours where I'm supposed to be educating you about the Foundation, after all. If you put Shy Guy in the Infinite IKEA, can he escape? Yes, Director. SCP-096 can very easily escape the Infinite IKEA. In fact, easier than most anomalies. Because 096 can sense if you've seen its face, and it will know where you are anywhere in the world. Which means that that sense will lead it to you. And so if we put 096 in the Infinite IKEA, yes, the door moves around. It would be hard to get there. But if anybody saw its face, it would run through, find the door through to its senses, because the door leads to the person who saw it. And so it would be that easy for an basically immortal anomaly to get out and find whoever saw its face again. That's why we keep it locked in a box. At least then we know where it is when it's not raging. That way we know we can at least protect people in general from accidentally stumbling upon it. Because in the meantime that 096 is lost in there, before anyone outside sees its face in a picture or something, it will be murking plenty of SCP-3008 refugees in their little villages in the IKEA. So, not a great plan. Hellcrawler, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some flamin' hot Cheetos on your way past the commissary. Hey, new researcher here. Are we sure SCP, the world turns gray, isn't just a normal light that blinds you? I don't know what you mean by SCP, the world turns gray. cliche, right? No. Green gray. 316. If you're talking about SCP-8900-EX, that one went the other way around. It was that the world used to be what we perceive now as black and white, and things changed so that the world was now in what we call color. And so we sprayed the world with amnestics to make everybody think that the black and white world was never real, that the world was always in color. And then we say that photographs of the real world back when it was gray are just due to lacking technology being unable to show color. 8900-EX, if you want to read about that one, if that's what you're talking about. Checking one more time to see if there's any added context. I wish it wouldn't do it like that, because it finds it hard for me to go back and see your text history to see if you added any context. Okay, you haven't said anything since I started talking about it, so might have to go back in a bit. But a dihydrogen monoxide, thank you for donating again. A D-class just threw 018 at me. Use the gravity well to contain it before it blows up the entire site. The Space Burb, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a hefty amount of bird seed on your way past the commissary. I'm sorry, burb seed. The Anomalous Spices is not an SCP, but if it were, how would the Foundation contain them? Well, I don't know what that is. I can take a quick look. It makes you colorblind and resembles a trench flashlight. SCP trench flashlight makes you colorblind. Color draining light. Bronze aged carbide lamp. Casing corresponds to no manufactured models. Appears to be homemade. Bulb is ordinary and can be placed without impeding the function of the anomaly. Does not function unless 2D batteries are in the battery compartment. Positive ends facing each other. When switched on, 316's bulb emits a nearly opaque beam of white light. Non-reflective objects and materials in contact with this light have their molecular structure rearranged into patterns which homogenize reflected photons, distribute their wavelengths, blah 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 blah. Over 6 seconds of exposure, affected surfaces lose all color, retaining shades of gray of the same luminosity as the original surface. So this is what you're talking about. And so your question was, okay, so we know that this is not a light that blinds you or makes you specifically colorblind, because multiple objects, multiple people can see the object has been decolorified. And so if I'm not in the room when you shine the light and you take the colors away, and then if I walk in and the colors are still gone, that means it is the object that was decolored, not the eyesight of the person observing it. As far as I can tell from this log, that is the situation. Right? And gradually wear off over the next 24 hours. Most affected organisms experience the following. So does the color come back? I guess the color comes back. Although, if you are decolorified, then you suffer from color blindness. So that is a thing that happens when you are decolored. It's not making the viewer colorblind. It's making the person decolored colorblind. Subject was terminated and his property destroyed. Man, I miss when we were that cavalier about murking people with anomalies that they made. Sheesh. King of Awesome, thank you for becoming a level 1 researcher at Site 42. We appreciate your service and your membership. And now, Space Burb, you were asking about Anomalous Spices. Do you mean species? I guess you mean species. Avalon Ministry of Information. Data collected in parts for the benefit of vassalized and visiting races. History of the Avali concept. Socratic exercise in how the differences from humanity and an alien civilization would lead them to develop different cultural and social normal and how they viewed the world. Avali were originally a raptor-like, pack-hunting, ammonia-based life form with 4 sensitive ears and fluffy, feathered bodies. They are now a chimeric abomination developed through unusual evolutionary processes, best described as an excruciatingly prolonged game of telephone. Strange. The Avali made their first public appearance as a race created in Spore, albeit misnomer due to a slight oversight on how Spore stores names, where they enjoyed a great deal of popularity and thousands of subscribers. Moddable playable race in Starbound, albeit with significantly improved art style and some improvements in lore. Well, I mean, they're definitely anomalous. That's for sure. But, cross between a large rabbit and a turkey. Stands bipedally. Head to toe and feathers of varying length. Rudimentary digits. They are not mammals, but more similar to prehistoric Earth Dromaeosauridae. Are they intelligent? Arterial pressure, thick insulation, trace amounts of water in solution. Feathers, ears, reproduction, augmentation. Cybernetic augmentation. Interesting. Life support. Okay. I'm not seeing anything about them that makes them particularly difficult to contain. It looks like if we have one, we could just stick it in a box. Melee weaponry, alright, they're smart enough to use tools at least. We're learning more here. Range weaponry, they have guns. Okay, they are spacecraft. They're right. They are of a human or greater intelligence. Gotcha. See, we're learning things today, chat. Culture. Avali tribes pride themselves on having individual customs, life and architectural styles. Okay, so if we got a hold of one Avali, we could easily put it in a box, it seems. It's a humanoid style anomaly, easy peasy. If there was a group, if there was a tribe, we might have to negotiate and work with them to keep them contained and or out of our consensus reality so that they did not breach secrecy. We've dealt with many anomalous races in the past. We will do so again in the future. And so this doesn't seem too terrible. SCP Administrator, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a carrot rhubarb ginger juice on your way past the commissary. Shadow Foe, thank you for becoming a level 1 researcher here at Site 42. We appreciate your service and your membership. Administrator, thank you for donating again. And Lazy River, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a s'more on your way past the commissary. Will the 3008 employees be able to make the tree scream? I don't believe they are able to do so because we've already done a lot of melee style attacks on the tree to make it scream. And so all the 3008 employees have is like little claws if they have sharp hands. So not going to be particularly helpful, unfortunately. Team Killer Cody, your first YouTube live hello. Well, welcome to Site 42. I am glad you came to join us on this live. Matt Sator, did you add weight? Yes, you can see a little extra fluff on Dr. Sherman right now. I injured my ankle back in October, and I have not been able to hit the gym, unfortunately, since then. It is an Achilles tendon injury, which is taking a very long time to heal. Doctors in the med bay say it usually takes about 3 to 6 months to maybe a year for the Achilles to heal. And so we are just going through it bit by bit. And in the meantime, I'm in my big fat party animal era. That's how it's going to be until I can get back into running shape. But there's no use complaining about it. Just got to go through the dark to get to the light. Momi Rimiru. Thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a handful of jelly beans on your way past the commissary. How does the gender swap stone affect trans people? Well, it does what it says on the tin. It switches your gender. And so if you go in as the wrong gender, identifiably, as that's how your body was made in the first place, it changes you to the other. And so for Foundation staff members who are trans, it is part of the Foundation's medical insurance plan that they are allowed to have access to SCP-113 if they want it. They just have to go to their on-site therapist, go through a couple sessions, do the proper paperwork, and 113 gets transferred from site to site, so anyone at that site gets it during that rotation. It's a pretty easy process. I mean, it's super painful. So you want to be sure you want to do this, because I hear it's terrible. But sometimes it could be worth it. Are furries allowed here? The King or them King? The M King or them King, whichever one you are. Site 42 has no problem with furries, and in fact, the SCP Foundation has a lot of furries on staff. Just like, you know that the best hackers in the country and the world are all furries for some reason. I don't know what brings them, but if it brings them joy, I'm not gonna rain on their parade. Shadow Foe, thank you for donating. Is this your first donation to today's stream as well as becoming a member? Doing it all. Very much appreciated. Boom. Yes, first donation of today's stream. So you can have yourself a... Well, I guess you can get some Dino Nuggies at the commissary, because you're asking if 3008 would have infinite Dino Nuggies. So you can get some at the commissary while I look up. I didn't know that IKEA served Dino Nuggies. Do they? Can you get dinosaur nuggets in the commissary of an IKEA? Restaurant menu. So you're getting your infinite Swedish meatballs. We all know about that. Breakfast plate with pancakes. IKEA. I absolutely do not want you to know where I am. Not just because I don't want to get stuck in the infinite IKEA, but we know for a fact that IKEA does not like the SCP Foundation. Based on conversations I've had with numerous creators talking about making projects for SCP-3008, IKEA knows about SCP-3008, and they don't like it. They do not like that there's a horror story about going to IKEA. Obviously, it's not the brand projection they want. And so, when there was a creator making an SCP-3008 game, it was getting very viral on TikTok. IKEA sued them into oblivion and got the game shut down. Ooh, they do not like being associated with us. I know from personal experience that they like letting influencers come in and do advertisements like any company does. But both times when I've talked to someone at IKEA and I've told them what Site 42 is, they get a message from legal saying they are not allowed to interact with me and they are not allowed to say why. So, oh, it's crazy. So yes, IKEA does not get to know where I am. They are not tracking us. VPN fully on. I am not seeing any Dino Nuggies at the IKEA, which means that there would not be infinite Dino Nuggies, because the food that's infinite is only the food that serves at the IKEA restaurant, and it's not infinite in that it's just infinite at source. You can eat it all, and it will refill, I think, the next day. And so you can get as much as you can, but then you got to wait for it to refill. Okay. Back to where was I in chat? Sheeny. Not to trauma dump, but thank you for hearing me out on your idea. Lost your grandmother to dementia in 2014, and I can think of a few real things more terrifying than that disease. Out of character, same. It wasn't 2014, it was it was actually, not to get too personal, it was, about 2 years ago past, but had been suffering from it for several years beforehand. And, yeah. It also fucks me up pretty bad, too, if I'm being honest. So, for instance, the movie Coco, I don't watch that movie. That movie hurts to watch for that exact reason. So, I feel you. Where was I? Administrator, thank you for donating again. Space Burb, thank you for donating again. Totally, completely unrelated note, your Gazer cannon is ready for pickup. FYI, Gazer is an antimatter-propelled gamma gun. I don't remember ordering a gamma gun. Desk, did you order a gamma gun? Squizzo, welcome to level 1 researchership here at Site 42. We appreciate your service as well as your membership. Administrator, thank you for donating again. Hello, Dr. Sherman. Good evening. How's Site 42 been? Any containment breaches? Good regards, the Administrator. I'm having a good evening, besides a little bit of technical difficulty we had starting today's stream. But it's going okay so far. We're happy about that. On top of which, Site 42 has actually been pretty okay. I wouldn't say perfect because we don't want to tempt fate. But there haven't been any major breaches today. Knock on desk. And hopefully it stays that way. Desk, okay, you were the one who ordered the Gazer cannon. Space Burb says it's complete, so go pick that up. And happy hunting. Oh, the whole chat is, yeah, Coco makes me cry anyways. I understand completely. For sure. Are there any Canadian SCPs? Asked SCP-049. Well, 049, as loath as I am to tell you about any anomalies that you may or may not want to do some sort of research on, SCP Canada. So, 3975 is located in Canada. 354, the Red Pool, is actually located in Canada. I did not know that. 3840 is in the Boreal Forest region of Canada. 8918 is a unit of humanoid anomalies active in the 78th Battalion, Canadian Expeditionary Force. Interesting. So yeah, what I would do is I would go to the SCP Foundation wiki, and I would go to the search in the top right corner, and if you just type Canada, oh boy, will you find a bunch of Canada. Happy Canadian hunting. Happy moose hunting. Administrator, thank you for donating again. Oh, you double donated the same question. Sorry to hear about that. Director, are there any political SCPs? You, my friend, might be interested in SCP-5004. SCP-5004 is an entity named Old Garmin who lives underneath the capital of the United States of America and can only be contained by an anomaly known as a reality sink. Now, reality sinks are very rare. They're usually human entities who make anomalies around them depowered. So it just turns an anomaly into a normal object. And Dr. Clef is one of those, but we absolutely didn't want to make Clef the president because that would cause a lot of problems for America. I don't think Clef wanted to be president there either. But long story short, SCP-5004 is the story of how we at the Foundation installed Donald Trump as president back in 2016, so that we could depower this anomaly that was going to blow up the world if we didn't. So it was ugh. Sheesh. You're right, Clef. You would do a better job than the other guy. I've come to regret that decision in the past 5 years since. No, 9 years since. What are years? Yeah, 9 years since. Jesus. Dihydrogen monoxide, thank you for donating again. If you looked at a pic... Oh, yes, before I forget. Also, if you want less modern politics as an SCP, the director, you can check out SCP 1981. That is Ronald Reagan cut up while talking. A very popular old-school SCP with a political bent. Now, Dihydrogen monoxide asked, if you looked at a picture of 096's face from the far side of the moon, would it survive jumping and crashing into the near side of the moon? Absolutely. No, that would be super easy. It would just use that big squat booty to jump, and then it would land on the moon, it would crash, and maybe it breaks its bones, but it'll heal, and then it'll come get you. Spaceburb, thank you for donating again. I have a text file for my own version of the Avali race as an SCP, but I don't know how good it sounds. Is there someone else who could help? So what you and other prospective SCP writers should do first is you should make sure that you join something like the SCP Foundation official Discord server, because I believe they have a critique forum channel that you can talk to other prospective SCP writers. And remember, critique is a service, like editing is a service that people do as a job. So just begging people to critique your article won't likely work because you're just asking them to work for free. But if you make friends in the community and you critique people's work, they'll normally critique yours back. It's a trade process. And so you make friends in the community, you do trades, and you get people to look at your article and help you make it better until you get to a point where it'll work. So I'll tell you this. Yeah, it's got to be your own version of the Avali because you can't take a copyrighted thing and put it on the SCP Wiki. But yeah, there are a lot of stories about anomalous races and that do really, really good. I forget Ori Tiefling's article with the bug people. SCP Ori Tiefling Mantis people. Isn't it like 5,000 something? Is it 7,999? Oh, it's 7,999. Wow, my dates were all off. 7,999 is a great article about an anomalous race doing things and living among humanity. It's very heartwarming, actually. It's a nice, wholesome article for you. King of Awesome, thank you for donating again. Hey Doc, 049's in your office. All I'm saying is that if I was head of security, this wouldn't happen. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Well, look, 049 has wandering permission as long as they stay loyal to the mobile task force they're working on. So if 049 is waiting over there, I will just get to it eventually once I'm done with office hours. I'm sure it has another inane question. It can probably ask me in the chat rather than waiting outside the door. Spaceburb, your donation got put twice. I don't know why. Oh, interesting. I don't see yours twice. I saw the administrator's twice, but I don't see yours twice. Hopefully you didn't get double charged for that. I'm sorry if it did. The YouTube system is what the YouTube system is. Do not fadoodle the anomalies. You are correct. Wanted beverage. Do not fadoodle, fraternize, shtup, bugger, or any other kind of canoodling with anomalies, please. Oh god, SCP-999 has a gun and he's shooting D-classes. Well, good news, I taught it to do that. Too many people were being abusive of 999 and trying to put it in a blender and things like that. And so I taught 999 to defend itself. And I'm glad it worked. Those D-class probably had it coming. dark red. What's on your shirt? Oh, the eye has been, tempting you for information? This is literally Site-42 merch. I'm going to stand up and show you. This is SCP-049, the t-shirt. This is one of the many ways that we are trying to rebuild our funding due to the budget cuts from the Overseer and the leaving of Dr. Moon Moon. So, if you happen to go to the Site-42 Teespring shop, this design is available. It is a design made by an old friend of mine from the theater days, and he's an artist. He also made all the channel art for Site-42. If you look at the YouTube channel, the Site-42 logo and the green designs of everything, that is the work of my buddy who made all the art for the channel, as well as a couple of t-shirts. There's also an 096 shirt that's pretty sick over there. So yeah, if you want to grab some merch and help support Site-42 that way, we would have loved to see more SCP-049 and not 096 shirts bouncing around. Desk, thank you for pinning the shop. Dr. Moon Moon gonna catch these hands. I agree, Sheeny. I agree wholeheartedly. Punk. An absolute punk. How do we know what 096 looks like? Well, Pugman Ultra, and thank you for being a member, of course. We know what 096 looks like because in the 096 document, you'll see it, we took a D-Class who was a particularly good artist, and we stuck this D-Class in a submarine and lowered it very, very, very far down in the water. And we gave the D-Class a picture of 096 and asked it to draw the picture. Then 096 obviously got triggered and started charging toward the coast and then down into the water to chase down this guy. But by the time it got there, we already had the document, the artistic rendition of 096's face, so that we could know at least what we were looking at / dealing with. And that's why you could go to the pinned comment to get an 096 t-shirt from our Teespring store, because we know what 096 looks like and we are safe when you use artistic representations. Those are the featured products. I realize I haven't checked out this store in a while, so it looks like some of my shirts got taken down. It looks like the 096 and the 049 are gone. Oh, that's disappointing. I know they made some changes. I'm going to have to do something about that. Whoops. Okay, well, you can get the Toad King Just Keep Spinning shirt, the I See No Gender Only Victims Able shirt for SCP-076, and the Site-42 logo at least. But I'll have to do something about those missing shirts. Because now, it doesn't make sense for me to wear this anymore. I can't even sell it. I'm foiled again. We will never fix the budget. Drab Minotaur, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a lonely wanderer on your way through the commissary. Don't worry, it's not a human. It's just the name of a delicious mocktail. Reaching out from one of the SCP rooms, don't remember which. We have been gambling for 2 hours now. I don't know how to leave. Oh, yeah. Sometimes they try to have some illegal gambling against regulations in one of the break rooms that's hidden. But if it's hidden, it's because the door's hidden. And then they get stuck there when the door doesn't come back. It's very similar to the situation with SCP-3008. But it's a very small room, so you'll be able to find it again. You'll get out soon. Don't worry. Spaceburb, thank you for donating again. I have a book called David the Inconvenience. I'm starting to think I can turn it into an SCP, as in a man named David who is anomalously, I'm sure you meant, inconvenient. It sounds, honestly, a little similar to Dr. William Weddle, who is SCP-7000, the Loser. Now, I'm not saying it sounds exactly the same, and maybe there is some offshoots you could do to, make it unique, but for Dr. William Weddle, it's a situation where everything inconveniences him because very bad luck. But maybe pardon, yours, will be someone who's anomalously unlucky for people around them. And what you should do is you should look at the SCP 7000 contest and look at the entries of that, because there were a lot of anomalies that were probability based, which means they will do bad luck to themselves or people around them. So keep an eye on that. What is the absolute strongest SCP? Well, just another vessel. I am happy to report that we have an obvious winner for the strongest SCP, and that is SCP-6101. SCP-6101's literal first sentence in the description is, description: SCP-6101 is the most powerful SCP. So there you go. I mean, it doesn't get clearer than that. Also written by Pepper's Ghost. Mans writes some great SCP documents. Capybara, hello to you. If William Afton was an SCP, what ranking would he get? So, God, since I first saw your channel back when I was 15, how long ago was that Mega Man Plays? Just so I could feel exactly how old I am, I guess. While I'm answering this question, watch out in the rules, otherwise you'll get desk people. The desk hammer is mighty. So, William Afton, as a human being, as a human scientist, would be a person of interest, because while not anomalous himself, he is making anomalies. And so in that case, it's a person of interest and not an SCP itself. Although person of interest can still get given object classes, I believe? Maybe. Meanwhile, SCP, once William Afton became Springtrap, you know, undead, living in a undead state in a broken animatronic, that would be anomalous, and it would default to a Euclid class anomaly, because you can't have a safe class humanoid anomaly. If it can move around and think, it can try to plan an escape, so it needs to be at the very least Euclid. Now, I don't see Afton going up to Keter, because it doesn't move that fast. It's not doing anything super crazy besides being a monster, lumbering monster man. Now, its inventions start to get weirder, because some of those are souls and spirits, and those are a lot harder to contain. We get a lot of Keter there. And if we're dealing with full restaurants, that's when we're dealing with mostly Euclid, but some Keter if things can escape the restaurant. Usually in FNAF, they don't escape the restaurant, which makes containment a breeze, honestly. The problem is no one ever knows what's going on in the Afton verse, in the FNAF verse. If there was a foundation there, we would just clean it up. It'd be that easy. Dihydrogen monoxide, thank you for donating again. Can SCP-055 be eaten? Like, is it a food item? Well, on the list of things it's not. I don't believe edible is on it. Things. SCP-055 is not. Well, it is not indescribable. It is not a sphere. It is not indescribable. It is not a sphere. Where is that? What's going on here? It is not indescribable or invisible. Yep, that's the word I was looking for, invisible. Okay, so... It doesn't say it isn't edible, but it doesn't say it is edible, and if it were, we wouldn't know. Wanted Beverage, you are correct. The Global Occult Coalition is a group of interest, not an anomaly listed as an SCP. Therefore, it does not necessarily have an object class. It is a group that we very often interact with, so it's not an SCP in and of itself. Curious about what that is. Dr. Akiv, AKV. I don't know how to say your name. Akiv? Dr. Akiv. You have Site 42 in your name too, so thank you for repping the site. Radiger hasn't uploaded in 4 months. I wish they would upload. I love their content. Have I got a secret for you? Radiger just dropped a new episode of their Content Farm. It is Patreon only right now. And so I'm a patron of Radiger because I love Radiger's stuff. I want them to keep making things. And so I've seen it. It's perfect Radiger as always. There are reasons that Radiger's uploads have been delayed, unfortunately. But hopefully they're doing better now. And the new video is fire. I suggest becoming a patron of Radiger so you can see it for yourself. But it will release soon, I guarantee it. What is your opinion on the Volgan? Volgan's a pretty righteous dude. I have worked with Volgan on a previous document. I've done a voice in his work. He's done some voice in mine. We both did voices for the 049 document. Yeah, Volgan is an extremely busy man. It's hard to get a hold of him. But other than that, very nice guy. No problems. I love the art he makes for the SCP Wiki for certain articles and stuff like that. It looks great. Oh my god, I meant to stop streaming 20 minutes ago. I had things to do. Well, in for a penny, in for a pound. 10 minutes left, people. 10 minutes left for stream. Because we'll just say we went over because of the tech issues. We'll just call it the tech issues. Oops, indeed, everyone. Haha. Haha. I don't have any yelling at me text messages, so it seems like... Oh, don't do that, don't do that. I don't have any yelling at me text messages, so it seems to be fine in that sense. But, yes, 10 minutes left, then I have to get back to work. If anything, I hear 049 is waiting outside for more conversation. Do you believe 049 is genuinely trying to help, or is just manipulative? I think... I know 049 is waiting just outside and you asked me this question. I think 049 is particularly delusional. I think there is no pestilence. I think Raymond Hammond died for no reason. So, I think, yes, I think it believes in what it's doing, but I also think in what it believes is stupid and wrong, and it would be nice if it could stop being deluded long enough to stop murdering Foundation staff. So, yeah. I think it is honestly an idiot. When it comes to the pestilence, obviously it has better qualities in other scenarios. So you know that tree that won't scream? Is it like if a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound thing? We have recordings in the cell with 4521, and we have not recorded screaming. So we know it's not screaming when we're not there. That would be fine. If it wanted to scream while we're not there and it did scream, we'd be pleased as punch. We'd be so happy. We'd be so happy with that. The problem is, it doesn't scream while we're not there. It doesn't scream while we're there. It does not scream at all. And it should be screaming. That's the problem. But it is a problem that will be fixed one way or another. Yeah, good times, good times. Why should it scream? Ant, I've gone over this so much. Yeah, Pugman Ultra, why should the tree be screaming? Does anyone... Are you all taking amnestics before bed? What is... We know, in real life, not in SCP lore, but just in real life science, grass and trees and plants scream when under duress. When you mow your lawn, the grass is screaming. It makes a sound. We can't hear it, but we can record it, and it's at a frequency we can't hear, but it does scream. Therefore, if trees and plants and grass scream, then the fact that this one tree isn't screaming, that's frickin' weird. That's anomalous. And unlike most anomalies where we want to research it, and so we don't do anything, our research is very simple here. What will it take to get this tree to scream like all the other trees? And so it's fine. It's fine. What we're doing is we're trying to figure out how to make this tree more like other trees. That way, it all makes sense. Because if the tree responded to interviews, that would be a different scenario. Then we could talk to it. We could understand it. But we can't understand it. So the only thing we have to do is to fix it. With violence, when necessary. Zinsane, thank you for subscribing to Site 42. Welcome to Site 42 staff. Yes, for all of those who didn't know about it, you can read SCP-4521. 4251? Oh my god, I forgot the number. My brain hurts so much. It's 4521. It's 4521. SCP-4521. A tree called 4521. Yes! 4521. That is the SCP that we are going to make scream successfully soon. It'll be so great. Is there a set time on their streams? There is absolutely not. My streams are always random whenever I'm available. I've got a lot of work to do on the other side, but I'm trying my best to stream daily to chat with you guys for at least a little bit. And today, that happened to be from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. my time, and 7 p.m. became 7:30 through human error. So here we are. Permission to try and make the tree scream? Alex, add your test to the list. Let's make it happen together. Try my brother's laziness. I always scream in frustration. I hear that exactly in Papyrus's voice. That's how real that is right there. You know what? I am open to anything right now. So sure, let's try it. Could be fun. Redmaster, thank you for donating again, but... You know, I just told you why we want the tree to scream. Because it's not screaming and it's supposed to scream. Christopher, I thank you for your first donation to today's stream. I hope you enjoy some pine needle tea on your way from the commissary. But trees do scream. We all know that that's true. You know it. Science says it. It's there. This is not up for debate. Trees do scream, except this one tree. And we'll fix that. We will fix it. It'll be so great when we fix it. What happens if an SCP dies? Well, Dooku, I mean, living things usually have a way of being destroyed or killed. And so if an SCP passes away, whether it's some sort of incident in a containment breach maybe it's just been in containment so long that it perishes of old age. Either way, you just dispose of it as you can. You got to be careful, because if you dispose of any anomaly wrong, there's a possibility of chaotic circumstance. So you got to make sure we properly immolate it or bury it correctly, depending on the kind of anomaly it is. Havoc Pineapple, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a pina colada and get caught in the rain on your way past the commissary. We can turn the tree into an ent with funding. Okay. I don't know how you would do that. And I don't feel like I want the tree to have the ability to fight back. I feel like that makes our job more difficult. So let's not do that one. If you had 4975 after you and you were in an indestructible case, only you can fit in, would 4975 leave or just wait for you to come out? And you can stay there forever as well as somehow. So you're talking about essentially the absolutely safe capsule from Mother 3 in that case. First of all, fate worse than death there for sure. Don't like that. But 4975 is listed. Time's up. Vaguely humanoid entity, avian attributes. So yeah, the bird monsters. We talked about this recently. Multiple folk tales, stock victims, before deciding to attack. So the thing is, there are a lot. No, there's only one entity. Interesting. So let's think about this the same way we think about Final Destination. When you're looking at Final Destination, you're looking at Death's design being thrown out of whack, meaning that death is happening out of order. Now, it doesn't stop all death from happening. Other people will die. Did it stop all death from happening? Man, I haven't seen those movies in a while. Long story short, I think that if you are in that unbreakable permanent cell by yourself, you're essentially dead and the thing would let you go. Because you're not getting out, you're dead in there. It can go off and do its job and you're stuck. So yeah, don't jump into the absolutely safe capsule. It's a trap. Dihydrogen monoxide, thank you for donating again. Could 682 make the tree scream? I do not believe so, because 682 is a defensive entity. It probably would not help us make the tree scream on purpose. So, as much as I would like to see what it could do, it probably won't. Gomestein, are you a fan of indie games? If so, have you watched Indie Cross? What did you think? Due to someone mentioning it in chat one of the other days, I did check out Indie Cross. I like indie games a lot. But for me, Indie Cross doesn't quite scratch the itch, because I'm not really a fan of just spectacle. Indie Cross is really good for what it is, which is the whole combat happening, The choreography of the fights is really good. Can't deny that. I enjoy what they're building there for what it is. But for me, I would want more story, more character focus, and even like the animators, the voices, the ideas are doing good. It's just that it's so much about the combat. Very stylized, very cool, but I need more meat. I need more lore. I need more character interactions and stuff. Dinosuchus and Spamton, thank you for subscribing to Site42. Welcome to staff. Does anyone know about 3999? It is pretty cool. Reality Warper currently neutralized. Literally, Turtle Panda, one of my very favorite SCPs. I'm about to tell you my favorite SCPs because we're about at the end of stream. And when I do, you'll hear 3999 because it is one of my favorite stories on the site. I love that surreal stuff. I love that meta BS. And that has got it really good. Christopher, thank you for donating again. Fine, what if you just can't hear the tree because its screams are not within the range of hearing? Also, I gave 053, the little girl, a chocolate chip cookie and a hug and live, so I'm definitely 682. So number one, we can hear the frequencies that other trees scream on. So if it's on some other band of frequency that we can't find it, which is why we believe it's not screaming. Because we could tell if it was like tree frequency screaming. And we checked the whole list of other frequencies, both within human range, outside of human range, outside of anomalous sound wave range. And the tree is not screaming in any of them. So if it wants us to stop, it can scream in a language we can hear. Okay? In a language we can measure at least. And Building Block, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself some Milano cookies on your way past the commissary. Have you tried asking the tree nicely to scream? Yes. Someone suggested that about a week ago, and we tried it. It didn't work. I didn't think it would work. So, yes. Hazmat, thank you for your first donation to today's stream. Make sure to grab yourself a thermos of hot soup on your way past the commissary. Tom from Complex 6 wants me to explode. Why, though? What did you do to Tom from Complex 6? Why does Tom want you to explode? Is Tom trying to make you explode? Does it have explosives ready for you? How much danger are you in? Or is this just an idle threat? I need more information. Desk, they know what they did. I believe you. Hyrule Nil, Torchwood is not associated with the SCP Foundation, but they are very similar. Right up there with Unit in the Doctor Who verse. If we existed in the same universe, I'm sure we'd have some crossover. We probably wouldn't work together too often because of conflicting ideologies, but it would be pretty cool. And anyways, I'd have a better chance of containing the Doctor finally. That little punk. All right. We are here at the end of stream. And so, as always, as stream ends, I tell you my favorite SCPs. That way you can go read them and enjoy them in case you haven't read them. Now, my favorite SCPs are not the ones I wrote, because that would be cheating. I'm not going to cheat like that. They're like my kids. Of course they're my favorite. So, if you want to read my SCPs, you can go to the Sherm's SCP author page and Site42 hub on the SCP database. All the SCPs I've written and or contributed to are there on that page for your reading pleasure. And hey, while you're going through my SCPs, why not check out the support links? You can become a patron of Site42 or a member, or do a one-time donation through Ko-fi or buy some merch. Either way, you're supporting Site42 to help me and the team make bigger Site42 projects, support other SCP projects like films and games that are getting made by other groups, bringing attention to them, and maybe if we get big enough and we solve our budget shortfalls, we'll even get to make our own SCP short films and games later on. So with that, my favorite SCPs are in no particular order. 3999, 3043, 008-J, Spooky-J, 5320, 5175, 5031, and, with a huge content warning, 8980. Whew, that's a rough one. And just in case you've noticed, I never say them in the right order because I have to remember so many numbers. And so they just kind of pop out sometimes. 3999, 3043, 008-J, Spooky-J, 5175, 5320, 5031, and content warning for 8980. Those are my favorite SCPs. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. Enjoy some Site 42 videos or some articles as well on your way out. And I will see you guys in the next video. So as always, make sure that you secure, contain, protect, be safe, be well, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm addicted to stress, that's the way that I get things done. If I'm not under pressure, then I sleep too long and I hang around like a bum. I think I'm going nowhere and that makes me nervous. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's thinking about me. It's the little things that get you. It's the little things that get you when you're not paying attention. It's the little things that get you. It's the little things that get you. It's the little things that get you when you're not paying attention. I'm trying to cut down on my caffeine consumption. So when I wake up, I just have one cup of coffee, and I like to have another cup of coffee with my breakfast. And on my way to work, I like to get a cup of coffee, like the kind of cup of coffee that you get with the donuts. Except I never get the donut. I just have the cup of coffee. When I get to work, I like to have a cup of coffee because I like to have coffee when I'm talking on the phone. But it usually goes cold. And when you need to get another cup of coffee, then it's lunch. And I have an espresso. And when I get back, it's not morning anymore, so I have a Diet Cola and another Diet Cola. By then, I'm feeling fine, I'm feeling pretty sharp, and I'm feeling pretty wired, and I'm getting things done. But right about 2, I get this little tiny migraine. It starts with my eyes, goes to the back of my neck, moves to the bottom of my spine, but doesn't get there until 5 or 6 o'clock, which is the end of the day. So I'm fine! 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 Except for when I have to work late. When I have to work late, which I usually do, I'm addicted to stress. That's the way that I get things done. If I'm not under pressure, then I'll sleep too long, and I hang around like a bum. I think I'm going nowhere and that makes me nervous. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's out to get me, but I feel alright. Everybody's thinking about